Compass error. We're now going to work with compass error, and compass error is one of the things we have to live with because of our magnetic compass and our charts being in true. And what we're going to do is, when you work on the chart, any degree that you take from the compass rose, we want to take from the outside. The outside of the compass rose is a true bearing. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through a correction. Now we have a handout that we'll give you, and it's called the compass correction heading. And what it is this is a formula we're going to have to learn. It's true, variation, magnetic, deviation, and compass. And TVMDC. So whenever you're working with a compass correction, just get used to writing TVMDC. There are a lot of little sayings that people use. Some of them are kind of crude. I'm just going to tell you this: can dead men vote twice? Is one I use. Now, what we'll do is when you do a compass correction, you're going to have to insert numbers in here, and it becomes a mathematical formula, and it's basically an add and subtract formula, so you don't have to worry too much about negative numbers and anything like that. So what we're going to do is, when we take something off the compass rose, if we take a true course off the compass rose, we're going to have to take that and we put it here on true. The variation is the variation of the area. Now, when you work with the Chesapeake Bay, Block Island Sound, and Long Island Sound, they're going to be a standardized variation. It's going to be given to you. If you're unsure of your variation, you're going to grab your variation from the chart. The chart will actually have it on here. And what we're doing is we're using a chart that's frozen in time. And what this chart is, this is frozen in 1983. Because all the questions, if the way they change channels, we'd have to be changing charts and questions and everything in the world. So the Coast Guard database is basically froze in 1983. So the variation for the area that we're going to be using will be given to you during the plotting problems and during the test. When you plot on your own in an area, you're just going to go to the chart and you're going to find out what the variation is from your compass rose. So then your true bearing with the correction for your variation will give you a magnetic heading. A magnetic heading is good, but we have deviation. If you remember, deviation is the disturbance caused by your own vessel. So we have to factor that in to get whatever compass course we're steering. So when we get a true course of something, we just can't steer it on our compass. We have to go through our correction before we can steer it on our compass. This is coming from the chart. This is coming from the area, and it equals this. The deviation is coming from your deviation table or your compass card. On your vessel, you'll have a compass card. In this case here, we're using Chesapeake Bay, and we're always going to use a 14 west variation, and you'll see that'll come important, the west particular. But then we find a magnetic heading. Once we find a magnetic heading, we're going to find a deviation of our vessel, and this is done by a company that comes out and calibrates our compass. They find out for different headings what the error is. And if you can see here at 300 degrees, we have no error. At 60 degrees, we have 4 degrees error. Now imagine, say, well, 4 degrees is not that much, but if you steer 100 miles and you're 4 degrees off from the point A to point B, you're going to be a long ways off your destination. They don't like to have a number bigger than 4, so what you'll see is on your compass, around your compass, you'll see small little pieces of copper placed around, and what that does is try to draw the compass as correct as possible for that heading. It's called swinging the compass. So this is where we're going to use our deviation card. Whenever we want to put in D, we have to go in and find out what our magnetic heading is to get our deviation. Now, we have a problem, and first thing we're going to say is what course would you steer true if you had a heading of 346 degrees PSC. PSC is just the other word. That's, if I call compass, another name for compass is per standard magnetic compass is what it stands for, per standard compass. So what they want to do is they want to find out if we were steering 346 degrees compass, what would be our true course. So what I would do is I'd go in and I'd do my TVMDC. Now they're giving us some things here, all right? They're going to say, oh, our variation is 9 west. Variation is 9 west. Our deviation is 3 east. And our PSC is 346. Our compass heading is 346. Now, when we're working compass area, this is where the west and the east become important. Because what direction is on the side of our arrow determines whether we add or subtract. So the way we want to remember is, anytime you're going from T to C, add whiskey. Subtract east. And if we're going from C to T, we want to do just the opposite. We want to add east and subtract whiskey. Well, what are we doing here? If I went from here to here, I'm going up. So it says I have to add east. So 346 plus 3 is 349 degrees. Well, I still got to get true, so I'm going up. So I have to subtract west. So I take 349 and I subtract 9 from it. The answer would be 340 degrees. And I can take that bearing to my chart now and it would be correct. So I had to fill in the blanks with my variation and deviation. In this case, I didn't have to use my deviation card. It was given to me. And when it's all said and done, if you can see, there's the answer right there. The next question, it says, what is the course to steer PSC if you're steering 340 degrees true? And the variation is 9 west and deviation is 3 east. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our TVMDC. Can dead men vote twice? And we're going to fill in the blanks. They're going to say, what is the course per standard magnetic compass? So we don't know what this is. So let's fill in the blanks. 3 east. See, it says a deviation, so that's our D. And the variation is 9 west. And our true course is 340. So I'm just filling in the blanks. Now, the way the problems will work is they're going to have you go on the chart and find this bearing. They're going to say, all right, you want to steer between this light and this light, what course would you steer? So on the chart you find out that it's 340 degrees. Now look what we're doing. We're going from true to compass. So if I'm going from true to compass, I want to add west and subtract east. 340 plus 9 is 349. Now I got an east. I'm going down. I subtract east. So I want to subtract 3 from 9, and my answer would be 346. And if I worked it backwards, you can actually see if I had 346 and I work up, if I add 3, that'd be 349, and I'm going up and I subtract west, it's 340. Either way, you have to make sure these two match it up. So that's where we're going to find out, and that's compass error.